Tonight, a local student will be on National Spotlight.
Plus, there is still a chance for Troy students to make an impact on campus. Stay tuned. TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for February 27, 2012. I'm Christina Cook.
And I'm Courtney Still. Thank you for joining us this evening. Young actors and actresses from across the state of Alabama converged on Troy's campus over the weekend to hone their acting talents. Joey Hudson has the story.
To be or not to be? That is the question. And that was the question for about 500 teachers and students who attended this year's Alabama State Thespian Festival this weekend. Students from high schools across Alabama visited Troy's campus to compete for scholarships and have a little fun at the same time.
They're participating in workshops, college auditions, college scholarship auditions. The senior high school students are. They're doing individual events. They're doing monologues and singing and tech events, and they're doing workshops. And we also have vendors here. Colleges are here to talk to. You can get your headshot made over there. It's just a weekend of theater.
Besides polishing their dramatic skills, officers have an opportunity to apply their leadership experience in a new environment.
If they get involved in the student board and they're actually participating in the planning, that's a huge leadership skill. And it does look good when you have a state leadership position. Have to say, colleges like to see that.
They're expecting you to bring your A game because they can pinpoint who they want to give scholarships to, and also who they see fit for their program in their department at their school.
The festival also gives competing students a chance to mingle with peers from around the state who share their love for theater.
It's just like a mixture of different people, and I think it's great for you to actually meet other people who share your passion for theater.
Where I'm from, our theater department's kind of small, so it's great to come to an area with a bunch of more schools that have your common interest, and we all love theater, and that's how that's what we share this weekend.
Joey Hudson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The festival wrapped up Saturday night with a performance of Dead Man Walking by Catholic High School from Huntsville.
A Troy University student will be in the National Spotlight tonight on one of America's most popular game shows. Talisha Harris will be a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune tonight. Harris was out in California for the show a few months ago, but the episode will finally air tonight. Harris says Wheel of Fortune has always been a favorite of hers and was excited to be a part of the show, but maybe not as excited as her friends and family.
Well, to be on the game show, everybody has been calling me. They are more excited than me. I can't even really be excited for myself because everybody is more excited for me. But they are ready. Everybody has been calling me, inboxing me, Facebooking me, just everything. So they're ready.
Harris is not able to say if she won big prizes or not, so folks will have to watch tonight to find out. Locally, Wheel of Fortune can be seen on WAKA CBS at 8 at 6:30.
Well, there is still a chance for Troy students to become one of this year's Impact Counselors, although the time is running out to apply. Impact is Troy's summer orientation program for incoming freshmen. The admissions office is looking for students to take on the role of counselors for the summer session. There will be an interest meeting tonight at 5:30 in the admissions office. The applications are due in the admissions office by noon tomorrow. Impact Director Oliver Aaron tells us what they're looking for in a counselor.
I really think that the committee is looking for one necessary, requirement. We're looking at the student's personality when they apply, how they interact with us through the interview will be a good indication.
Once again, the final Impact interest session will be tonight at 5:30 in the admissions office. Applications are due by noon tomorrow.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. Authorities are investigating what caused a small plane to crash and burst into flames in Lacey Springs, killing a man and woman in the plane. The Morgan County coroner identifies the two people killed yesterday afternoon as Larry Hicks and Gail Owen.
And next in state news, an executive who played a key role in development and growth of the Honda plant in Lincoln will soon depart for a new position. The senior vice president at the $1.7 billion plant, Chuck Ernest, will leave his job at the end of the month.
Alabama Parks officials plan a controlled burn on 48 acres of land at Gulf State Park. The Alabama State Parks Division will conduct the controlled burning starting Wednesday and continuing through March 9th if weather permits.
And still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the Trojan men's basketball team finished off their season and ended on a high note. Danielle Percival will be in with all the details on that and more when she joins us with sports.
But first, officials say one student is dead and 4 wounded after a student opened fire at a Chardon High School. We'll have that and more when we return.
Dude, check out this chef, right? Right? That's so gay. That's really gay. Dude, look at those pants.
Please don't say that.
What?
Don't say that something is gay when you mean that something is dumb or stupid. It's insulting. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. Just saying. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
In 1887, it was written that we want to educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, the body to act. And it's no different today than it was 125 years ago. Some things never change. The mission of this university is to prepare leaders who are going to go into the communities and make a difference. And I think it's within that culture of caring that excellence is found.
Troy University, in class, online, within reach. Troy.edu.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we go to Christina Cook at the Global News Desk. Christina?
Thanks, Courtney. A high school student was killed in a shooting this morning in a suburb of Cleveland. Police say it was a fellow student who opened fire in a terrifying attack at the start of the school day. As Manuel Gallegos reports from Chardon, Ohio, a suspect is in custody.
Parents cried and hugged their children outside Chardon High School after a student opened fire in the school cafeteria during breakfast. 1 student is dead and 4 injured.
We feel so disheartened.
A teacher may have saved lives by running after the suspect.
One of the teachers happened to chase the shooting suspect out of the building. Immediately at that point, our officers entered the building, went to the 5 injured students that were injured, and got EMS in there right behind the door behind him.
Police say there was just 1 shooter and that he turned himself in. Students who witnessed the attack said there was chaos, with people screaming and running down the halls. 1,100 students are enrolled at Chardon High School, about 30 miles outside Cleveland. Parents describe it as a tight-knit community where everybody knows each other. As SWAT teams rushed to the scene, teachers ushered the students out of the building and into the elementary school across the street. Parents lined up outside to collect their kids.
Our teaching staff did an excellent job in a very horrible, traumatic experience this morning.
Officials say the victims are 4 boys and a girl. One witness said he recognized the shooter as an outcast who may have been bullied. Since he's a juvenile, police have not identified the suspect, but they say they have his handgun, and they're running a background check to trace where and when he got it. Manuel Gallegos, CBS News, Chardon, Ohio.
Just one day before voters in Michigan and Arizona cast their primary ballots, one new poll gives Rick Santorum a 2-point lead over Mitt Romney nationwide. In Romney's home state of Michigan, the 2 candidates are virtually tied, with each fighting hard for every vote. Randall Pinkston reports from the White House.
Just one day before the next round of primaries, Mitt Romney has brought the race to a virtual tie in his home state. Rick Santorum is trying everything he can to take back the lead in Michigan.
Governor Romney not only instituted government-run health care, the first comprehensive government program running health care from the top down.
Santorum is fighting hard to convince social conservatives he is their best choice. He made headlines over the weekend when he took aim at John F. Kennedy's famous speech from 1960, highlighting the separation of church and state.
To say that people of faith have no role in the public square, you bet that makes you throw up.
Romney is attacking Santorum, accusing the former senator of being a Washington insider. Losing the state where he grew up would be a huge embarrassment to Romney's campaign.
Taking the stage at a manufacturing plant in Rockford, Michigan, the former governor took aim at President Obama's policies.
This president's made a lot of promises, by the way, that he's broken. All right, he said he'd cut the deficit in half. He's doubled it.
He's trying to convince Michigan voters he has the right plan for creating jobs and shoring up the sagging economy.
We've got to cut federal spending, we've got to cap federal spending, and we've finally got to balance the federal budget. And I will do that.
Michigan and Arizona are shaping up to be the head-to-head fights for Romney and Santorum. Newt Gingrich and Ron Paul are essentially skipping this round of voting. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, the White House.
A deadly explosion in Afghanistan injured several U.S. troops and killed several Afghans. Violence is escalating a week after American soldiers mistakenly burned Qurans at a U.S. airbase. Tina Corrales reports from London.
A suicide bomber struck this NATO military base in eastern Afghanistan as U.S. forces were coming off duty. The blast killed at least 9 Afghans and injured dozens more, including several American soldiers. The Taliban called the attack payback for the Quran burnings at a U.S. airbase last Monday. Over the weekend, an Afghan policeman killed 2 U.S. officers at the Interior Ministry in Kabul. Colonel John Loftus, a father of 2, was a decorated airman from Kentucky. He died alongside a U.S. major. Riots are raging across Afghanistan despite continued apologies from President Obama and military commanders, who have called the Quran burnings an accident.
We deeply regret the incident that has led to these protests. We are condemning it in the strongest possible terms.
Furious protesters threw a hand grenade into a U.S. base in northern Afghanistan on Saturday, injuring 7 American special forces. The violence prompted the United Nations to evacuate its international staff from the area. NATO has withdrawn all foreign advisors across the country. Despite the pullbacks, commanders say America is committed to its mission in Afghanistan, a mission that involves training Afghan troops U.S. soldiers aren't always sure they can trust. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
And that wraps things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, including the chaos and frenzy that Nike is causing on the East Coast, you can turn into TrojanVision Global News right after the nightly news. Now, back to you, Courtney.
Thanks, Christina. Now Danielle Percival joins with a look at sports. So Danielle, I didn't make it to Florida this past week. However, I heard the men's basketball team had a good time while they were down there.
Well, I certainly hope so, picking up a couple wins. And they were ending the season, but they actually saw a season first. The men's basketball team ended the season with their first back-to-back wins in conference play this season by beating Florida Atlantic in the final minutes Saturday night, 83-82. The Trojans overcame a 19-point deficit to top the Owls. The Trojans didn't see a lead until the second half, until the final basket of the game fell in. But really, do you need the lead any other time? Get it when it counts. Troy was down 10 with 3 minutes left on the clock, but Will Weathers came up big for the Trojans in the final 6 minutes, with all 6 points they had in the final minute. Weathers finished the game with a team-high 28 points, and here's head coach Don Maestries with his perspective on the win.
Weathers got hot, hit 4 threes in a row. Then he hit 6 out of 6 from the foul line. Hit 3 free throws when he got fouled on a 3-point shot that gave us the lead. And it was just a great win. It was deserving for our kids. They've had a tough year, so to see them have a big win on a senior night for FAU, where we lost our game, our senior night, was kind of a good redeeming factor.
And the Trojans got hot at the right time, since they're now preparing for a trip to Hot Springs, Arkansas and the conference tournament. Their first action will be at 6 o'clock Saturday against South Alabama. And the women's basketball team also rounded out the regular season Saturday, falling to Florida Atlantic 68-62. The Trojans took a 4-point lead into halftime and stretched it out to as many as 8 in the second half, but the Owls fought back and took the lead for good with just under 7 minutes to play. 11 of the last 14 points for the Owls came from the free throw line, where they banked 18 of 24 attempts. But head coach Mike Murphy says he's proud of his team's commitment to fight till the end.
You go on the road to Florida, one of the longest road trips of the season, to end the year after having a very challenging season, and then to play as hard as we played, especially at FAU, where we just battled for the entire game. We put together 2 great halves after playing on Thursday night, a short turnaround, playing again on Saturday. I'm really proud of the kids' effort, their enthusiasm, their commitment to excellence. They showed a lot of grit. We just came up a little short. We couldn't get to the free throw line enough. We went 5 times, they went 26, and that's hard to beat.
The Trojans' next action will be in the conference tournament against the 3 seed North Texas. Tip-off for that game will be at 2:15 Saturday afternoon in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The Trojans softball team wasn't able to sweep their games this weekend, but they did take 4 out of 5, and that's nothing to scoff at. On Friday, the Trojans started the tournament off with 2 come-from-behind victories. Against both Ball State and East Tennessee State, they faced 2-run deficits and overcame both to win 9-4 over Ball State and 12-9 against East Tennessee State. Saturday seemed like the Trojans hit repeat as they came from behind 2 more times to hit 4-0 on the weekend. Troy trailed 4-2 facing Cleveland State entering the 7th and final inning, but managed to put 2 runs across the plate to send it into extras. The Trojans won 6-5 and took the second game of the day 3-2 against Tennessee Tech. The Trojans batted in 2 runs in the 6th inning to seal that win. But Sunday, the Trojans ran into the Purdue Boilermakers, who ended the Trojans' 6-game winning streak, which was their longest since 2009. Despite pounding out 12 hits, the team fell to Purdue 10-4 Sunday morning. The Trojans' record now sits at 11-2 after a 4-1 weekend. This is the Trojans' best start during head coach Melanie Davis's time at Troy. And coming off an opening weekend series victory, the Trojan baseball team looked to repeat that success this weekend against 28th-ranked Southern Miss. And the weekend started off promising with a Trojan victory Friday night with Tyler Ray on the mound. Ray and Nate Hill combined for a 6-hit shutout to win 3-0, but on Saturday the Golden Eagles had their revenge, taking the game 2-1. So it came down to Sunday's game to see who would be taking the series. But this one got away from the Trojans early with Southern Miss taking the game 8-1. The Trojans went through 6 pitchers in all during the game, and their struggles at the plate didn't help the situation. Head coach Bobby Pierce with his thoughts on the series.
Letting a series get away on the road that we had a lot of opportunities to win. So I see a lot of good things. I see some things I don't really like, but it is early in the season, and part of what we try to do here is teach our players day by day, week by week, how to push forward and handle the next situation better.
The Trojans return to action tomorrow night at Riddle Pace Field against Sanford. First pitch is scheduled for 6 o'clock. So while no one was in action at home this weekend, the baseball team will be in action tomorrow night at home. So hopefully lots of Trojan fans can get out there, support the team, hopefully get a victory.
Exactly. It's good to see the basketball team ending their season very well and the softball team beginning their season with a good start.
Definitely a hot start.
Good. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, jobs may be hard to find, but Troy students will have an opportunity to land their first job this week. We'll tell you how.
Plus, this weekend was cool and cloudy and may have been a precursor to conditions this week. Derica, what should we expect?
Well, Courtney, this week you might want to change your outdoor plans. I will let you know why after the break.
Hi, I'm Mia Hamm. As a professional soccer player and a future soccer mom, I know how fun and rewarding sports can be. I also know how frustrating it is when you're sidelined by an injury. So I've teamed up with the American Association of Orthodontists to ask young athletes to play it safe when playing sports. I spent years training to become a world-class athlete. I know what it takes to become an expert on the field. Orthodontists understand this too. They're experts in their field, helping kids and adults obtain healthy, beautiful smiles. They want to help athletes prevent injuries and stay in the game. It only takes a second to get hurt, and too many athletes are risking injury because they're not properly equipped during games and practices. Wear the right protective gear like mouth guards, face masks, and helmets. Your first line of defense against preventable injuries. Play it safe, achieve your goals, and keep smiling. Visit braces.org.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now Derica James joins with a look at weather.
Well, Derica, we started off pretty muggy today. It was raining, but today it took a turn for the better. What can we expect for the rest of the week?
Well, let's hope we expect that for the rest of the week. The rest of this week, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of rain, but hopefully it'll just rain in the morning or late at night when we're asleep. But I'll get into that later. First, let's look at our campus snapshot. As we look, we see that it's still nice outside. I'm not seeing any rain right now like we did this morning. So as we go into our current conditions, we see that skies are cloudy right now. Temperature coming in at 67 degrees. Dew point at 54 degrees. Humidity at 63%. Barometers at 30.31 and rising with winds coming from the north-northeast at 5 miles per hour. Today's stats: a high of 68, low of 52, 0.01 inches of rain. Sunrise at 6:13 a.m. and the sun should set at 5:39 p.m. As we look at temperatures around the state, we see Huntsville coming in at 69, Birmingham at 72, Montgomery coming at 69 with a light mist. So if you're going to Montgomery, you might want to be on the lookout for that. Troy is coming in at 67, Phoenix at 70, Dublin at 63, and Mobile coming at 57. They're also experiencing some light rain. As we go into current temperatures of the southeast, we see that those temperatures are staying consistent mostly throughout the southeast, mostly 60 and 70 degree temperatures, with Florida coming in with some higher temperatures in the 80s. As we look at temperatures across the U.S., we see that just about like last week, we see that the West is still experiencing the colder temperatures, mostly 30s and 40s. Some are actually getting the teens. So their departure from normal is this is pretty usual for their area, not too much different. But as we look down here in Texas, they're seeing a big increase from what they normally should be seeing around this time of the year. Then as we go into current searches, we see that the West is not experiencing too much. There's some snow in some places with stationary fronts and low pressure system coming through, which may be bringing them some rain systems or some snow systems sooner or later. But as we look closer into our area, we see there's a stationary front coming down with a high pressure system setting off, and just a few rain systems that have passed our areas but now are going into the Florida area and out into the Atlantic. As we look at the next 48 hours, we may be seeing a lot of rain coming through, but it should just be a light rain, nothing too heavy. As of right now, there's no severe thunderstorms that may be producing from these rains. So just about a light rain, probably about a half an inch. As we go into Tuesday forecast, you see that rain's coming in. It's mostly going to be most of the United States may be seeing some kind of system coming through. As you can see, most of Texas, most of the southeast is going to be experiencing some rain. Some places going to see some heavy rain also. And as we go into Wednesday, as you can see, that rain is continuing to move over the southeast. Some areas may be seeing some severe rain systems coming through, but our areas should really just see a light mist coming through. As we go into Thursday, we see that rain is about cleared out, and it's in the panhandle of Florida, and it's pushing closer out. But as we go into Friday, we see that rain may be coming back, and we're going to be experiencing still a light rain, nothing too heavy. So as we go into tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy with just a 20% chance of rain, probably about a half an inch, as I said before, with winds coming from the east-northeast at 5 miles per hour with a low of 54. And then for tomorrow, we may be seeing some overcast skies, another 20% chance of rain with winds coming from the east-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour with a high of 72. Then as we look at our class outlook, at 7 a.m. we see a high of 56, 10 a.m. a high of 62, 1 p.m. a high of 69, and 3 p.m. a high of 70. But during those days, it may be raining, so you want to have your umbrella with you at all times. As we look at our 4-day forecast, we see that for the rest of the week, there's a very big possibility of rain all the way around with highs in the 70s and 80s. So as you see, Christina, it may not be a perfect weekend, but hopefully it ends up like it did today, just rain in the morning, clear skies in the afternoon.
Yeah, well, I can hope so.
Okay, thank you.